G'day and welcome to another episode of In the Driver's Seat with me, Greg Murphy, or Murph, where we take a spin with some of New Zealand's most fascinating people and find out what drives them. All thanks to our mates at AutoSense, providers of fleet and safety driver solutions. You need to find them at autosense.co.nz. Today's guest is someone who's inspired Kiwis through sport broadcasting and being brave enough to speak her truth. Jenny-May Clarkson is a former Silver Fern, a key host on TVNZ's Breakfast, and the author of a powerful new memoir that lays it all out, from burnout and pressure to rediscovering who she really is. She's gone from top-level sport to early mornings on live TV, and through it all, she stayed strong, honest and fully herself, even when that's been tough.
I said, you know, I play for New Zealand, right, for touch. And they were like, well, yeah, but like, how long ago was that, Mama? And I was like, doesn't matter. I used to play for touch, eh? And they was like, yeah. So I just want to tell you one thing. Just want to show you one thing. And my son looked at me and went, no.
At 9. But first, we're going to see what kind of driver she is. Let's go for a spin.
I know a lot of people who are very jealous, including my husband, that I'm getting into a vehicle with Greg Murphy and we're going for the ride.
They're what? They're
very jealous.
Jealous?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, I don't know if they should be jealous.
So this is my father-in-law drives it.
And it's manual.
Yeah, that's...
How good.
It's his car that he kind of drives around.
This is the first car that's a manual. It's so good. And it's so nice someone driving it. But you,
hang on, where am I going?
We'll go right. But you would have learned to drive in a manual.
Yep. And a Datsun 180B.
There you go. Oh, the Datto 180B.
Out on the back farm.
And Pio Pio.
Yep.
Wow.
My dad taught me how to drive a car when I was, I don't know, I would have been about 13.
Yeah.
Maybe. But this is the last car. My dad passed away 7 years ago, and this was the last car he bought. So.
Oh, is that right? So she's been in the family now for quite a while.
Yeah.
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 And it's actually, for a car, it is a 2005. So 2005 Toyota Corolla, and seriously,
it's not bad, Nick.
It's in seriously good nick. Yeah.
It's done 230,000 k's.
It has too. Typical Toyota Corolla. It's just like they just don't die. It's the beauty of them.
I love it because it's manual. You can actually drive it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't drive it that often.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's cool to but it is nice. It doesn't matter even how old it is, just getting back in and working 3 pedals.
Really?
And you're not distracted when you're doing it either because you're using
you
all your hands.
That's right.
God, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So you're about 13, you learnt to drive around the back blocks. That was pretty handy.
I actually learnt to drive on a Datsun 180B, but I also learnt to drive a column change at the same time.
In a ute or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. Kingswood.
Yeah. That's excellent. So good.
Always wanted to drive Dad's ute.
Oh, you always wanted to drive Dad's ute, so you did? Yeah.
Yep. Learnt how to drive
would have been some
column change.
It would. I mean, those environments. I mean, you've got kids now that have had to learn to drive in the craziness of a crazy city. But back in the day, I mean, I grew up in Hawke's Bay, and learnt to drive around, a much quieter environment.
Yeah.
Stress was a lot different, eh?
Yeah.
You weren't really stressed about it, and other people were doing it as well at the same time, weren't they?
Yeah. Well, I'm 15. I remember my mum was a defensive driving tutor.
Really?
So that was. She might have been part of the pilot, actually.
Yep.
And I was one of the guinea pigs right back.
Yep.
In the day. So did a defensive driving course with Mum. That, I reckon, really helped as a young person who was full of bravado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You took note of it.
Yeah.
You actually. Why do you think you engaged? Because Mum was doing it?
No.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I think that, so. There's not a hell of a lot that I do remember about it. The one thing I do is with the following distances and, having markers on the road and making sure
you give yourself space.
Give yourself space. I'm sure there were a lot of other things that I learnt from that I continue to do today.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that was back in the day when you just got your license, right?
That's
just
right.
Did the theory, did the practical.
Well, you probably did
it.
because, so what year was that then?
74, 84, so 89.
Yeah, okay. So you were in the graduated licensing system like I went through. So you started the process. So you would have done the defensive driving course, but your mum probably said, "Have you doing this?" But you would have got 6 months off your restricted for doing it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
But that's cool. I'm glad that you have said that you actually you did get, and I think it's a good course too. I just don't think that having it as a carrot to get 6 months off, unless you are going to, when there's no pass or fail to it, I just think these days kids won't be learning as much as what they could be learning.
Totally. I agree. I don't think it should be, you're going to get 6 months off because you've completed the course. I think everybody should do it. And when you're driving on the motorway every single day and you see what you see, you kind of go, man, people have no idea how to drive. They sitting too close to people. If something happened in front of them, there ain't no way where for them to go.
No.
So many nemesis I've seen just in the last week or so, actually.
Yeah.
People distracted by phones, almost going into the concrete barriers.
Yep.
It's just...
It's nuts, eh?
Yeah.
It's completely nuts. I just struggle with how we've allowed it to get to this.
But even the awareness of other people around it. So you're sitting there, you're observing a vehicle and you're going, man, I'm just going to pull back a bit because I'm not really sure what's going on. And everybody else is still driving the same.
Yep.
And you that awareness of what's actually happening in vehicles in and around them or on the road, it's just simply not there with people. And again, I personally believe that if there was some kind of course that people had to do, then I think we'd have that awareness there. And I'd like to think we'd have safer roads as a result of that. But
well, we would have. You're 100% right. I mean, that's what I advocate for on a regular basis with what we do with our Street Smart Driving program, which we've spoken to you about on the TV and did a few bits and pieces around that. I gave you a bit of a driving lesson, didn't I? And
yes, you did.
It was an upgrade, an update.
Yep.
An update.
Well, the thing that I enjoyed about what we did was around the braking.
Yeah.
But not around the braking itself, but actually understanding your vehicle and the newer vehicles and what they're capable of. And you've got all these bells and whistles, but people don't know how to use them.
Yeah.
That was the big thing that I took away from that session that you and I did.
Yeah. That's good. Because you also, obviously through joining the police, there was obviously some training that was done as part of that.
Yep. ABS braking. Yeah. Didn't know it had kind of progressed a bit further beyond that, but I was a pretty good driver when I was at police college, to be fair.
So you've been through the process with kids as well, learning to drive. That's a tough one, eh?
Yeah. 2 teenage girls. I've got 2 boys, 9. So I'm dreading
the boys.
The boys behind the wheel. But yeah, we had the 20-year-old and 18-year-old now. 20-year-old, she was good. She had a lot of, we did a lot of stuff with her.
Yep.
She managed to get through things. She's a very good driver now, actually.
Yep.
And then the younger one, a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
And has tried a couple of times to pass her restricted, but hasn't been able to. It's not that she's not a good driver. It's just there's a lot of anxiety when it comes to the actual test itself. Yeah,
and that's a lot of young people are having that problem, right? I mean, it's quite common dealing with.
And you feel for them.
Absolutely.
She's got good awareness. She's a good driver. Yeah, there's always things that you can kind of pull her up on, but yeah, it's heartbreaking actually to watch her go through that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many pressures these days that they're feeling around so many things, and we just didn't have that.
No,
there was none. We just didn't have that situation when we were going through it and dealing with it back then. This peer pressure, bits and pieces, and all that kind of stuff, and whatever, and just personality and things. But it's really challenging. I've had. I've got 3 kids that are going through it, and 2 the boys that have gone through it, and obviously they were 10 foot tall and bulletproof, just like I was.
Yeah.
and then the daughter as well that's going through it, and it's scary as a parent, of course, as well.
Yep.
Very, very scary.
Oh, because one day they're going to be in there on their own.
Yeah.
And with so many other, when I look at driving on that motorway every single morning, and the things that you see when I'm driving home, it scares me that they're going to be on the road. And you're seeing them, and you're going,
this lot. They're not going to. They don't see them. They don't have that experience. They're not analysing and looking and thinking ahead like you are with what of experience that you've had and things you've dealt with. So we get a fair bit of anxiousness around it for sure. Yeah.
And the 9-year-old's already saying, "Oh, can I drive the car?" I'm like, no.
Are they, because they're twins, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, are they completely different?
Very different.
Right. So one's going, "Here, peace, person, no worries."
Yeah, and the other one's kind of like, "Oh, yeah, even I reckon I could do it, but I'm good. I can wait. No worries." The other one's just, he's ready to move out of the house.
Oh shit, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
That is an absolute challenge. So have you had any close calls on the road? Any situations? Did you back in the day, back in Pio Pio, did you throw her off the road there and something?
I remember. I don't even know whose car I was in, and heading. I don't even know. I remember I was heading out the back roads and lost it.
Yep.
Thankfully, it was pitch black. Thankfully, there was no one else around. I was just driving too fast, trying to be too cool, all on my own.
Yep.
And I hit some gravel. Anyway, the car spun out. One side there was a straight off the edge. But anyway, I don't know how I managed to stay on the road, but I did. I was lucky. Yeah. Something wasn't coming the other way. And I remember that being a massive wake-up call for me. I would have been 15 or 16 years old. I had a few incidents when I was younger, not while I was driving, but when others were driving, that was scary.
So that was a moment you went, holy shit.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. I was, again, it was just that whole...
So did you recognise that was luck?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had one.
Because I drove back up there.
Yeah.
And had a look the next day and went, far out.
I could have been all Red Rover over and out. Same for me. I did the same when I was about 8. I was 18, I think it was. 18, and I rode a car off. I actually rode off and it could have actually killed myself and the passenger that was in the car, and easily if it had been slightly different situation. Pieces of the puzzle slightly different in their arrangement, the outcome would have been completely different. And that was a same thing, just mass. Because I thought I was 10 foot tall, bulletproof, and just recently started racing cars. So I thought, I own the road, and it was a moment that I realised how fate played a pretty big part in that outcome. So
somebody was watching out for you. I've been in cars, we've rolled twice.
Really?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Again, just this bravado amongst us.
Yeah.
And we, again, just lucky that nothing really serious happened. There were injuries, but nothing that were life-threatening on both occasions. And I can still remember them. I can still remember them vividly. Yeah. Yeah, those moments.
Yeah.
Which scares the shit out of me.
Yeah. It does, eh? Yeah.
Because you think, I survived.
Or second, third chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some don't. And then you think about your babies getting out on the road too, and you just go far out.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick like I was.
That's right. That's exactly right. And a dick like I was too, on way too many occasions, driving too fast, doing things that you just... Yeah. You look back on and now because your brain's bloody developed into something that actually works properly.
Yeah.
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 A lot of irony in that we allow our kids at 16 years old to start this process.
I know. Yeah, it is quite scary.
You are sublime with the manual. Sublime. That was just so effortless and nice and cruisy and well operated. And the thing is, not that anyone has been when we've been doing these, but you just, your hand was on the gear lever or on the steering wheel the whole time. There's just, and you were just looking out the window. We were talking, but you're focused on driving.
But that's it. When you're in a manual,
it's just awesome.
Yeah.
And we've gone and taken all that away by making these things so easy, one-handed, just, got the spare hand that always has to do something. So
it takes your eye away from what's happening there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're back at the studio, so we'll head inside, sit down in that was a pass. As far as I'm concerned, it was just green ticks everywhere. But I don't know if you're going to pass the next bit because it's so full on.
Right. Okay. I'm up for the challenge.
I'm sure you will. Let's go. That was A+. It was an A+ drive.
Thank you.
There was no stress. There was no nothing. You're cool as.
I like driving.
Yeah.
I like driving
a
manual.
Yeah, but you don't mind driving anyway. I mean,
I'm on
do
the
you
road.
Go off down to Pio Pio much at all these days? Yeah.
Yeah. We
it's
get
a bit
home.
of a journey.
So it's probably 2.5, 3 hours from home back to home. I'm on the motorway every morning, 4 o'clock, and that's a 35-minute trip from home into town.
Yeah.
And then pretty much the same on the way home as well.
Even at 4 o'clock in the morning.
You know what? It's actually quite scary at that time of the morning. I've had a couple of incidences at that time. Just whether it's driving, whether it's just, a car pulling right back.
Do you think it's because they are also people, it's a bit quieter, they don't pay as much attention even?
Yeah,
But then again,
there is that. There's that side of it. But, I've had a couple of incidences where vehicles have sped past and then they've slowed right down and then they've done dodgy stuff coming right in behind you and then taken off and then slowed right down waiting for you to approach. And I've, to the point where I'm going about 30 or 40 Ks waiting for the vehicles that are further back on the motorway to actually catch up so that I know that if anything happens, at least I've got other people around.
Oh, wow.
That time of the morning is pretty scary sometimes. Not always. There's
some weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
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 Well, you've done a few
But
Ks.
I do like driving.
So you've done it. I mean, done a few Ks. You grew up we were talking in the car in a country, rural environment, not a huge amount of people around back then. Tell us about that. Just, growing up through that interesting place.
Oh, I loved Pio Pio.
Yeah.
It's a farming community.
Yeah. Off the beaten track a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's busy now, that main highway coming through, and people go through there on their way down to New Plymouth, so it can get quite busy through there. But when I was growing up, it wasn't busy like that. Dad was a truck driver back in his day. And so, he was always very, when I was time for me to learn how to drive a vehicle, he was, had a lot of good advice for me. But growing up back in Pio Pio, just a small community, I think there were about 300 in the secondary school.
That's reasonable.
Went from primary, and then the college was right there.
Yeah.
My 5 brothers and sister, and I loved it.
Yeah.
It was just a community. It's funny, because nowadays you have to make a choice about what your kids attend. Back in the day, for me, I didn't have any of that because the school was there, and at the school there were the tennis courts, there were the netball courts, there was the softball diamond.
Yeah.
Hockey ground was right there. So that was it. You just walked everywhere. Practice was after school. We just stayed after school, then walked home. And the weekends, it wasn't too much of, a bother because, again, you take that 10 or 15-minute walk to go and play whatever sport was on offer or kapa haka or whatever it was. It was going down your mate's street. There's, a dozen of you mucking around. And when the street lights came on, that was the time, better go home, dinner will be ready. Hey, there were no cell phones. You just kind of, I remember that I was back in Pio Pio the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And went up the back of our place and I was reminiscing about the times when me and the neighbour, we'd just pack up some cordial and a couple of packets of chips, chuck it in a bag, and off we'd go for the whole day. Mum and Dad went home.
Yeah.
They were out working at the local dairy.
Yeah.
Had no idea where I was. And you just disappear. 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, whatever it was. Found this pond that we were swimming. God knows what was in it. But, we'd hang out there all day, just eat our chips, and then walk home. And that's what it was like. You didn't really have you didn't give two shits about much back in those days. You were just growing up.
It's pretty awesome, though, eh?
Yeah, I think about times like that when I take my sons back there and I go, man, I wish you could grow up like this where there's not, the devices and the phones and the connection and all of that. And actually it was just hanging out and being silly and having conversations with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was no harm, no foul. It was just,
No.
Yeah. That's cool, eh? Mm.
Just being little shits.
Yeah.
Back home in Pio Pio.
Yeah.
It was good fun.
Yeah. Your dad being a truck driver, he would have been a pretty good teacher then, I would have thought, as far as the driving.
My
thing
dad
goes.
and I always clashed.
Oh, yeah.
But, he was. And one of the things that there were two things that he always used to tell me. And one was always go to the left, don't hug the centre line, just, there's the white line on the outside. That's the line that you got to stick to. And whenever we'd come across a truck, and the truck had pulled over for you, it's kind of just trying to get along. Yeah. And the truck has pulled over to the side. He's like, when the truck pulls over like that, go. I said, he's trying really hard to keep that truck on the road, and he's pulled right over for you at a place that's safe so you can pass him at that point. Those are two things that always stick in my mind about my dad whenever I see that happening. Yeah.
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 That's cool.
I'd like to think that he was a very good teacher. I'm pretty sure I was a terrible
student.
Yes. I'm sure I would have had a few things to say to my dad, I can't do that.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what I'm doing.
I reckon he would have been a great teacher. Yeah. Any more big names that from Pio Pio? That who else has come out of there?
Yep. Yeah. Dame Farah Palmer.
Oh, yeah.
So her and I grew up right next door to each other.
Yeah.
We tell the story because she's a couple of years older than me, and we went to the same school, obviously, because there was only one in Pio Pio.
Yeah.
And she took me to school on my first day. She was tasked with looking after me in primary school.
She was allocated you.
Yeah. Anyway, I got to the top of the old jungle gym back in the day, and I was standing at the top, and I said, Dad, I've got to go to the toilet. Anyway, I couldn't get myself down in time, and I pissed my pants on the first day of school. And she tells the story, and so do I. And that was her first task. She had to sort me out on my first day. So,
man,
we have these memories, her and I, of growing up together back
God,
there.
when the two of you are together, if in any kind of function or whatever,
it's fun.
It'd be hilarious.
It's fun. I mean, she's done incredibly well with her career, and I'm really proud of that, and proud to say that she's from Pio Pio, because again, we're only a small community. My cousin Philip Coffin, he played for the All Blacks.
Yep.
I'm sure there are others there. We had a New Zealand volleyball player, New Zealand hockey player come out of there.
And is that, because you mentioned before, you go to school and there was you had a softball diamond and there was a netball court and there was tennis courts and there was a hockey. I mean, it was set up pretty good.
Totally.
So that was pretty amazing.
I think part of the...
And that's obviously you went down that. Were you playing multiple? You would have been doing multiple sports.
Oh, anything and everything that was going, basketball, whatever.
Yeah.
I reckon we were playing with adults. No matter what you were doing, whether you were playing club, whether you were just down at the school mucking around, pulling out the softball mitts and throwing the ball around, you were surrounded by adults the whole time that you were involved in sport. And I think that had a lot to do with it.
That raised the bar.
Raised the bar, but also that care that was around you. Yeah, they were obviously, potentially stronger and more skillful than you were, but also the guidance that you got from having those adults around you. And this is from like young ages as we were coming through. there was not much else to do, to be honest. So again, if it wasn't kapahaka, if it wasn't softball in the summer, if it wasn't tennis, I mean, I loved playing tennis back in the day. You just gave everything a go. And again, you didn't have to worry about how you were going to get there, how much it was going to cost. You just borrowed somebody's racket. You just turned up.
You made the best of what
and
you
you
had.
hung out for half an hour until it was your turn, to get the racket that your mate was using to play. So I think that whole closeness of the community had a lot to do with the talent that came out of there.
Yeah. Do you think that cross...
Cortez Atama is another one, that's just come out of there too, as an All Black. So, we're still we're still making them.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing? Do you think that cross-pollination of those sports and doing all those different activities with those slightly idiosyncrasy skill sets and stuff, helped when you ended up choosing a specific one?
I always knew that I was going to play netball.
Right.
I think there was everything else was there for me to enjoy, and the challenge of trying to master those different sports. Netball for me from the age of 10 was always, I'm going to be a Silver Fern.
Is that right?
Yeah.
From 10 years old?
Yeah.
Bang.
I knew I was going to get out of Pio Pio. I had no... nothing was holding me back in achieving what I wanted to do. I don't know where that came from. I've got no idea. My dad used to talk about me being a very determined young girl. But that was always the dream. That was always going to be a reality for me. I didn't see any way that wouldn't happen.
And you're sort of not sure what that activator was. It just was like you obviously loved playing. And
whatever I turned my hand to, I seemed to be okay at.
Right.
I don't know, maybe that was the belief and the confidence that I got from just doing a whole lot of stuff.
So were you like, how were you seeing and viewing and understanding and this, like being a Silver Fern player? Like where was National Netball or Silver Ferns? How did you see that?
I didn't.
Right.
So at that age, it was just what we were doing in our local community in Pio Pio and Te Kuiti. Every Saturday morning, I would get up, the anticipation of putting on my school uniform to play netball, to jump on a Smurf bus, the blue bus that took us all into town because, we only had one car, 6 kids. So you'd jump on the bus in the morning and you'd stay there all afternoon until netball was finished and everybody jumped back on the bus and you went back to Pio Pio. That was my circle of what netball was. I knew there was a national team, and so I didn't have any vision of wearing a uniform. Obviously, I knew it was black and it would have a Silver Fern on it.
Yep.
At that age, I didn't know who the players were.
You're right. Yeah.
It wasn't until I started to get into my teen years and I started to make King Country rep team, and then you go to nationals and play in like 3rd division.
Yeah.
And then you get to see Waikato and Auckland and all of those teams playing in that 1st division that you went.
So you just knew that there was a national team.
Yeah.
And that was it. I just want to be part of that.
Yeah.
There was no other reference.
No other reference.
Until then it started to grow.
Yeah. Again, I don't know where that came from, but it was just something that was inevitable for me.
That is it's so inspiring for young people, though, now, today, to have that, and to understand and hear that, I would have thought,
I just kind of, if you have a dream, and I guess it wasn't really a dream, for me it was just, it's going to happen. It's not something
it wasn't
that
a dream.
I'm aiming,
Your pathway was set as far as
it was already set.
Yeah.
And I went way off that pathway
Sure.
As a teenager. And I'm sure my parents at some point went, man, is this kid going to keep her alive?
Right. Well, you spoke to me before about, some of the, moments in cars. Yeah.
And just I was a really tough teenager for my parents. And so I'm sure there were a lot of doubts, and it would have been frustrating for them to see that I had this talent
and
ability, and I was going way off over here. Yeah. I wanted to go out with my mates and go and drink, and do all of those things. But I always came back to that pathway, because in my mind, even though this stuff was going on, still knew that was the end goal for me, and that was going to happen.
You were just being distracted.
I was being distracted along the way, but I had a very clear idea of what I wanted to achieve.
That's unreal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is. And you probably look back and, again, I reference what we were talking about. There was a few things there that just really could have gone a different way and changed the outcome massively, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of things. I mean, I always say to my mum now, thank you for your unconditional love and the things that I put you through. I'm just really grateful that they always kept the door open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unreal. There was always that support.
That frustration, though, that must have been, massive for them. Knowing what your child is capable of, but, whether I will actually...
And wanting the best. And
totally. I see that now with my boys, and I kind of, I know they're only 9, but I can see their talent. I don't talk to them about it, but I see it. And then you also hear them go, oh, no, I don't think I'm going to, oh, no, I don't want to play next year. And you're kind of going, okay.
How do I manipulate the situation for myself, for the better of them?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you've got to, it's really hard. And I have to keep reminding myself, I know they're only 9, but it's not my life.
Yeah.
They have minds of their own and they can live
if
their
only
life.
they listened to everything I said.
One time I said to them, I said, I play for New Zealand, right, for touch. And they went, because they were playing touch this year, and they were like, well, yeah, but like, how long ago was that, Mama? And I was like, doesn't matter. I used to play for touch, eh? And they were like, yeah. So I just want to tell you one thing. Just want to show you one thing. And my son looked at me and went, no.
At 9?
And I went, it's just a little thing, son. Like, it's just going to help you with. And he said, what did I just say? And I went, okay. And I looked at the other one and I went, what about you? Do you want to know? And he was like, yes. He could read the situation. Anyway, I have to remember that my sons, one day they might come and ask me
but right now,
they couldn't give a rat's. And they're not interested in my experiences and how I might be able to help them play better. They will tell me how they play and how they do things. So, I can't wait for the teenage years. This is what they're like at 9. Yeah. Yeah, didn't you? Like, you played netball, though.
Yeah.
Yes. It was still at an international level, though, son. Not here, but... Yeah,
that was ages ago.
They seriously don't care.
Oh,
which I love on one.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. Being an elite athlete, how was that announcement? How was that being first hearing that you'd been picked for the Ferns?
I remember back in the day when I would go and watch the Silver Ferns trial in Hamilton. They had the Claudelands Arena, which isn't the flash thing that it is now. It was just this concrete court. And the Ferns were trialling. I went along with my mum because anybody could just go in and watch. And they made the announcement over the PA system of who was in the team. So all the trialists are sitting around and the public, and they just announced it. This is your Silver Ferns team, your team of 12. And you got to see the devastation. For players who hadn't made it. Thankfully, things kind of changed by the time I got there.
They realised that probably wasn't the best way.
That didn't work.
Yeah.
Well, it was what it was. And the phone call that I got, I probably remember the phone call when I got dropped more than I do the phone call when I made the team.
Yeah.
It was excitement because I didn't think I was going to get picked on that particular tour. There were a couple of other players that I felt were probably better than me. Anyway, I got the nod, went to the UK, my very first long trip at the age of 23 in a plane, 20 hours in the air. I had no idea what I was doing to the point where I remember we landed at Heathrow and, there's people everywhere. I don't know where we're going. It just seems to be all these kind of hallways to go down and all of us walking, and I just stopped and looked around and I was going, oh my God, this is
mental.
I'm like, I'm in the UK.
Yeah, I'm in a different country.
And, and then you hear, where's Jenny-May?
Yeah.
And, our manager at the time is kind of going, come on, Jenny-May, hurry up, hurry up. But that was surreal, being in that moment of, wow, not only have I made the Silver Ferns, but I'm on this amazing adventure with the team as well. I had a pretty good debut over in the UK. It was an awesome trip, and then I got dropped. Maybe a series later. I might have made one series and then got dropped the following one. And that kind of became the norm for me in my international career. I think I got dropped maybe 3 times.
Right.
First time was devastating. Second time, devastating, but what ifs. And then the third time,
you sort of knew a little bit more how to accept it or deal with it, right?
Well, in the end, you kind
still
of
a shock.
Well, it is a shock, but I'm grateful that it happened because at the time, everything about who I was, my identity was all. I was a cop at the time, but my identity was about me being a Silver Fern, and you had opportunities, doors that would open because you were in that exclusive club. Whether that was going to certain events and then meeting different people, the trips that you went on, there was all of these perks as being part of a Silver Fern. So my world kind of got wrapped up in that. And when I got dropped, I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to pick up my phone. It was my family that pulled me out of that and went, Auntie, we actually love you. You're an amazing auntie.
Yeah,
you're an amazing
person. There's much more to you than this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was able to learn that lesson, when I was 24, maybe 25. And so the next time it happened, I was kind of like, well, it's only 1, 2, 3 people's opinions. I get it. They're important opinions in this world that I've chosen to be in netball. But that's all it is. And so
exactly right.
they're able to have those opinions. So what is it that I can
do better?
Yeah. And then I'd go away and work on that. And I was, again, fortunate enough that I was able to work on those things and make my way back in. And then I got dropped again. But by that time in my late 20s, I was kind of like,
yeah,
I've been there. I've got to that point when not many players have.
There's such a small amount, right? Too.
And so reflecting on my career and going, actually, I'm pretty proud of what I've done, what I've managed to achieve. And I ended up playing the best netball in my later years, in my early 30s to mid-30s.
You'd let so much of these things go.
Yep.
And you knew how it felt. It was,
And watching, and I always had, because when I was playing at the, back end of my career, there were players like Casey Korpua coming through, Laura Langman, all these amazing young players coming through. And I remember when they made it, and I had a tear for joy and a tear for the heartache that potentially was to come as well. Thankfully, those girls, they were much better than me. They never experienced any of it. They went on to become one of, our greatest Silver Ferns. But all of those lessons that I learnt as an elite athlete, I truly believe have stayed with me throughout my life and the different situations that I find myself in.
Yeah.
And you reflect on it and go, oh, it's not that hard.
Yeah,
the
challenges.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
The ups and downs. But you're okay. You've had some challenging times, and there's more to come.
Do you think we as individual sports and the side of being an elite athlete, do you think the sports look after and teach enough around these things through the process?
I don't know if they do nowadays. I think there's a lot of things because of social media, the pressure, the expectation. I think a lot of sports do have more available for athletes these days. It still doesn't take away from the pain and the disappointment of disappointment at an international level, whether it's dropped, whether it's you don't achieve what you want to achieve, whether it's Commonwealth, whatever, Olympics, whatever that looks like. I'm sure there's more that can be done for athletes because there's not many, and I look at the role that I do now. You get judged every single day. I think that my career has, as an athlete, kind of set me up okay for that.
Yeah.
But again, for our athletes nowadays, with social media and the opportunity for every man and his dog to be able to comment about their performance, what they look like, what they're wearing, how they responded in the moment, whether it is to a win or a disappointment. I don't know how much you can do for athletes in those situations, because on one hand, you want a profile, but along with that profile comes all the other shit that comes along with it. And on the other hand, you don't want to have that profile because it means all that shit that comes with it.
Yeah, it's a real catch-22.
Yeah.
But
so I'm not sure that there is a way to be able to protect you from that, apart from going, just don't read it.
Yeah.
Just,
but that is actually something that is true. Don't read it because you can have that profile. You don't have to take any notice of what people are saying, because they aren't the ones that are going to, or they can have a real detrimental effect on you if you take too much energy or put too much energy into reading that stuff, which that's the only way it will have an impact, because they aren't the people that make a decision about you being in the team, not being in the team, determine your future, your outcome. The only people that do determine that are you, and obviously how you deal with, how much work you put in, your effort, all that kind of stuff, the way you control, those emotions, but also those that are making those selections, making those decisions.
Totally. I don't read it.
No, I don't either. I just don't. But it concerns me about people that do react to negative comments where it's a tiny, tiny, infinitesimal piece of important. It's just not important. It's just someone having their say on it, and people agree, don't agree, but it doesn't actually matter.
No.
We've got to stop.
What matters is the impact that it has on you.
That's right.
When you read it, when you buy into the narrative, that's where the impact happens. So, I'll get DMs. I'll just delete them. There'll be comments that end up in my social media that I just leave there. And for me, I go, well, if everybody else is seeing this, then actually that's on you. That's not on me.
That's right.
I tend not to, I'll still see something that kind of really, there's a scratch there. And then being able to go, that's about them. It's not actually about me, and being able to acknowledge it, acknowledge how I'm feeling about it, and then move on and continue to do what I do. Yeah,
and still remember at the end of the day who determines, you being in these positions.
Absolutely, but the other part of that too is, I know why I'm doing what I'm doing, and not everybody is going to like what I say. Not everybody's going to like the way that I look.
But you're not doing it to try and get everyone to like you.
And I don't have control over any of that. And I guess that's one of the lessons you learn in high-performance sport, right, is you control the controllables. What I can control is this and the environment that I choose to put myself in and the people that I choose to put myself around. And so, again, another lesson from my high-performance days that I think is impacting how I deal with a lot of the things that happen these days. Even I see people, they'll put up things that they've been sent or that people have said about them on a social media platform, and they'll put the comments together and they'll, throw it out there. And I kind of go, good on you. There's obviously a reason why you're doing that.
You put the effort into that.
Yeah, but for me, why do I want to give that more energy? Why do I want to give it more attention? I would rather just go, cool, delete, block.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I know it's all out there. I know what's out there. I know.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have to deal with any of that.
None of it.
Going through our
If somebody wanted to
professional
call you a
careers.
name,
They had to do it to your face.
Exactly.
Or they wrote a letter,
Send a fax.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, I got heaps of abuse at the racetracks because I was on the red side. I was on the Holden side. And at the time, you're like, get stuffed, blah, blah, blah. But I tell you, I look back on it now, it was awesome. It was a driving force. It was two tribes, there was no violence about it or anything. It was just,
rivalry.
You bloody wanker Murphy or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, mate, all good, no worries. And I look back and I feel very privileged to have been part of that time because it was really passionate, it really was. But the people couldn't hide behind a bloody phone.
That's right. They
so
want
if
to
they
say
said
something
it,
to
they
you.
were seen, and they were, and it's like I've had that many people in the last, however many, last 10, 12 years, go, I used to think you were a real dick and you're, blah, blah, blah and stuff. And
I love it.
And they come up to you now and they say, I was a Ford guy and I used to hate you because you, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, oh, you all right? Yeah. Yeah, man. Have a chat. I'm like, no, it's all good. Don't worry about that. It was fantastic.
Good old days.
It was, yeah. And I appreciate the fact that someone's actually, got the balls to go
up to you and say
it. You know, it's really good.
It's why I don't go out in public.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I stay at home. I'm good.
Yeah. You went through a bit of a speed bump with imposter syndrome.
Oh yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, it's. It's not so much these days, but I still have those moments.
Yeah, right.
When you're, doing work and you kind of go, man, I don't think I got that right. Should I even be doing this job?
Yeah, right.
Am I the right person to be doing this job? You still have those thoughts, but again,
maybe now you've put it like that. Maybe I've thought about it like that too. I suppose, and sometimes,
yeah, and I think we all do at different stages of.
Don't sort of recognise it as being something. Maybe, yeah.
Prior to me turning 50, man, everything changed. Seriously, it was just the day I turned 50. It was like this whole new, I don't give a shit anymore. There's just, you realise that you don't have much time left, and so the time I have left on this earth, it's going to be doing things that, for a purpose, and that you don't always have to be passionate about things, but there's, it's a means to an end, or there's reasons behind what you do and who you choose to give your energy to.
Yep.
And everything else is just noise. It really is. Prior to that, when I first got this job, and I was doing it when I was in the Silver Ferns, I reflect back on my time in the Ferns, and I wonder whether I could have been a better player had I believed in myself a little bit more. And when you get into that environment, everybody wants to get on the court. It's different when you're in a club team or in a provincial team, because I was good enough in those teams. I was first picked. I didn't have to think too much. I was good enough. And then you get to the Silver Ferns level and you're going, I'm good enough, but I'm not quite good enough to be named every test in that starting seven. And so, my confidence, whilst in that environment, I reflect now and go, man, you really didn't think that you were good enough to be in that environment at certain times throughout my career.
Yeah.
And had I had maybe some ways of being able to deal with that, the narrative that was going on in my head, and to be able to, again, acknowledge it and go, okay, I hear you, you're full of shit.
Had some tools to be able to do it. Yeah.
To be able to deal with it, and how that potentially could have had an impact on my career. I'm not sure, but that kind of feeling continued to progress throughout my television career, always wondering whether I was, the right person, or particularly when you get into a show like Breakfast, and you're in the public eye Monday to Friday for 3 hours.
Yep.
And again, it's this, I reflect back on it still with sport, and you get onto a court, nobody gives a shit about what's just happened. All they care about is the performance that you give.
Yep, right there.
And if it's not good enough, then everybody's going to have an opinion about it. I know it's not good enough. do you think I train 3 times a
And
day?
do you think I need you to tell me?
Yeah, I know that.
Mm.
And, you know, you don't perform to the best of your ability and you're the one that feels it. But ultimately, you also know that you're accountable to the public when you're playing for the Silver Ferns or whatever. Well, it's no different to the job that I do now. Nobody knows the cumulative effect of, you know, waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. My son had a massive meltdown the night before, so we're lying in bed till 10:30 at night, and then he's got his night terror, and so you're up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you turn up, and you're just trying,
not quite on, and you're not
just
quite
trying
on your
to make
game.
it through the day.
Yeah.
But you might, you know, stuff something up, and there's no
And
forgiveness
straight away, nothing
around that.
Yeah.
But I understand that.
Mm.
My background tells me, Jenny-May, nobody cares that was your night.
Mm.
It's just that you performed. So you have to wear that. And you just have to either be better or just be kinder to yourself and go, yeah, I didn't quite nail it.
Yep.
I'll try and be better tomorrow.
Yep.
And that's the place where I'm at now. Whole lot of stuff that happens before I even walk into that studio. And when I turn up the best I can.
Mm.
And
considering all
performing,
the stuff that's been laid out.
But again, I know nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
I'm there.
But you accept that now to yourself.
Totally,
Yeah.
I accept that.
So, and how long did that take to get to
Till
that?
I was 50. Seriously,
Yeah,
it was just like this
really?
whole thing happened.
Yeah, really.
When I turned 50, and I just
you shedded the weight off the shoulders.
I mean, I say that when I was 50. I also received my kauai when I was 50. So all of that combined, I believe, has given me a different strength and way of being.
Focus.
Yeah. And so it's awesome. I seriously love being in this period in my life. I loved my 40s, but I reckon the 50s are going to be pretty choice too.
So then, this is probably a bit ridiculous to ask then. I mean, you know, because there's obviously all these learnings, all these carryovers from all this stuff, and you've reflected on sport and everything, but it's had a massive bearing on how you've handled, you know, this new career in television at the same time. Which, can you say which one was harder? I mean, so different times, really.
Yeah, there were different times.
And
I would say probably my Silver Ferns years because I was less equipped to deal with everything. I mean, we didn't have the social media, but there was the ups and downs.
There's still the support, the mental sides of things.
But also the devastation of, we went to the Com Games and we lost to Australia in the final in double overtime. That was back in the day when there's, just 2 teams really in it. England was there or thereabouts. Yeah. Jamaica was still kind of
you pretty much
nipping at the heels, but it was always New Zealand and Australia that were expected to make finals. And so coming off something like that, that you build up to, and you don't spend 5 or 6 months building up to it, you spend years building up to it, knowing that the Commonwealth Games is what you want to go to. So you get there, you finally get the opportunity, and you don't quite make it. And then you have this huge lull after that because it's all over, team disperses. So it's almost like you go into that slight depression of all of a sudden I was like, we had this goal. We were just going towards this goal and then it's gone because it's over. I think about those things throughout my career and the real highs and lows that I had, and I had no skills. I didn't know how to deal with a lot of that. Whereas when you get older, if you're able to self-reflect and understand how you respond in different situations, you can deal with it a bit better. You seek out skills and ways of being able to deal with it, whereas back then you kind of just accepted that that's the way that it was. And you went, right, that's that bit. What's the next thing? And then you were just always moving forward, but you never actually dealt with the residue?
Or took that apart, pulled that apart a little bit, and then tried to unravel it and have some answers to actually then help you. It
was just the physical performance. Right, that's done. I'm on to the touch season now. And then the netball season starts hot off the heels of that. So there was always something else coming.
To keep your focus or keep your mind moving.
But you're right. You just, I know for me, I didn't reflect on why I felt like that. what were the things, what could I learn from that? No, I didn't quite unpack certain things that happened on that tour within that environment that I felt weren't, whether it was fear or whatever, I hadn't actually looked at that and gone, what was that about? Was that about my ego? Or should I have had a conversation with that person or that coach?
Yep.
I don't feel like I had those skills at that time to be able to deal with it, whereas now I feel like I could.
And probably not, those ideas probably weren't generated either through the team or through the management or anything like that, because again, it was probably sort of not really focused on it.
No, and I think they tried, there was always, tried to create an environment whereby you could, speak your truth. But ultimately, you're always kind of worried about being selected the next time around.
There you go.
And so you went, maybe not. Or I didn't actually know what was going on. I was feeling a certain way, but I couldn't actually articulate. It's like when somebody asks you, if you ever need help, ask for help. Well, sometimes you don't actually know what you're asking for. I don't know what help I need.
Yeah.
So it's always hard. So sometimes I don't even know what was going on with me, but I didn't take the time to just actually sit there and go.
And you just took the next step forward.
Yeah, it was like,
immersed yourself in something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. Whereas nowadays, when I know something doesn't sit well with me, I'll either front it or I'll take a moment to go, okay, so before I front it, what's actually going on here? Is it me and my interpretation? Is it my ego? Why am I not happy about a certain situation? And 9 times out of 10, it's usually me and the way I've perceived what has happened.
Yep.
And, again, that's maturity, being able to sit back.
Yeah, not react, just outright reacting and not knowing why you bloody reacted and then going, oh, shit, and then you've got to unravel something.
And then you've got to unravel all of that, which, more drama. More energy. I'm like, I don't have energy for that stuff. You're just a little bit more
patient in your approach. Yeah.
Yeah. Not so patient with my sons, but I'm patient with everything else.
Yeah, well, that's because they're kids. Yeah. You've gone and taken the bold step to do a book.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Full circle. I think we've done the full circle today. A journey of reconnection. What brought that on?
I was asked to do a book about 4 years ago, and I went, who fuck would read that?
Yeah.
At that time.
I'll tell you what, I'm now going to have to read it because this has been such a great chat. And I tell you, if there's more of this in the book, then she is a worthy read. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was asked to do one and went, actually, who would want to read it? And then, I don't know, again, turning 50, I started to reflect and I thought, man, I've had all these amazing experiences, some beautiful, some really heartbreaking. And I wanted to be able to share some of those things with people in the hope that they would perhaps see themselves in some of my stories and to know that actually it's not just you and that when it comes to perimenopause, when it comes to as an older mum trying to find yourself at 42 and you've got 1-year-old babies and me going, what's going on with my life? Everything seems out of control. I couldn't connect with my sons in the first year. I was petrified, so anxious when my husband walked out the door. How long are you going to be? Where are you going? Because I didn't trust myself to know what to do with my sons. I had this thought that everything was going to come naturally, and it didn't.
Yeah, right.
I'm not sure it still does now. I kind of treat everything like I'm coaching a game and you've got to do this and you've got to go and do that. And, sometimes I have to, my husband will kind of go, whoa. Just, they're 9, right?
Yeah.
And then from me growing up in a small town and we didn't have a lot. And it really is an ode to my mum and dad and how they raised us, 6 kids, losing 2 sons.
Wow.
The devastation of that for them and how they carried on. What it was like for me as a 6-year-old and seeing my mum deal with losing her youngest boy at the age of 10 and the incredible strength that she had to put one foot in front of the other. All of those experiences, and I wrote a lot of it about the early years with my mum. Had the opportunity to sit with her for a couple of weeks during the Christmas, New Year's period, and she actually remembered more than I did in certain situations. She'd go, no, that didn't happen then, Jenny-May. My mum is 82.
Mm.
Her mind is so sharp, and her memories. And so for me, that's really what it was. And I got to a point where I was like, whether people read it or not.
Yeah, I've now got this.
Yeah.
I've got this piece of this whole historic memoir.
And it's, again, for me, it's about my mum and dad and saying thank you to them for their unconditional love, for always being there. And hopefully that, I know they're proud of me, but I just wanted the world to know that even though I'm the person that's doing the things that I'm doing, there's this whole huge backstory to getting to this point. Yep. And sometimes people think you're on TV, it's life's good.
Life's great. Everything's fantastic.
God,
isn't it weird how television puts you on this bloody pedestal?
Yeah.
It's bizarre. Until you're actually there, and then how people react because you're on the box.
Yep.
It's just,
which is a privilege, and it's
I know it's a privilege.
It's beautiful.
It is
but at the same time, I kind of go, I'm struggling. I'm struggling at home to keep everything together, and I'm turning up
still dealing
every day,
dealing with the absolute same things you're dealing with. But this is just my job. This is just how I've ended up in this job, my role. My world is not something completely different to yours.
No, that's right.
It's just that's the job I do.
Yeah. And I always say that it's what I do. It's not who I am. In saying that, though, I do put a lot of myself into that job because I know that people can see through you. If you're there pretending to be something that you're not, people see through that.
Yeah.
And again, I think I've got to an age now where I'm like, this is it, man. This is who I am, and I'm throwing it out there.
But there's really not much point. The effort you'd have to put in, to actually portray something on television that is not you. God, that would be that's a hard
to do that every day, 3 hours, and that's why you can't.
You can't
do it because Monday to Friday, 6 till 9.
Can't rock up there and just switch a switch and be something.
No, but you do to a certain extent some mornings when again, your child's had a meltdown overnight and you're turning up and you start smiling and you kind of go, okay, I got this.
Yeah.
Despite having an hour and a half sleep. We're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
How long you got in you on the TV?
I don't know. I feel grateful to still have a job. I know there's our industry's been ripped apart. There's many people that still would love to be doing what I'm doing. So every day I'm grateful to be able to turn up and do what I do. And I love what I do. But it's hard. I mean, it's hard, but it's doable. Shit, people are working 3 jobs.
Yeah.
All of that. And you kind of go, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And as long as I can continue to show up,
add value.
Add value, that's it. To add value, then I want to keep doing it.
And those that are, in the big chairs going, she's still adding value.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's out of my control.
That's right. But
I don't.
But you keep doing what you're doing, and until someone says otherwise.
Yeah.
And again, it's not the people that are sitting at home deciding to send a comment or whatever. It's still those people at the end of the day.
Yeah. But also, and it is the people at home who tune in. See, I'm a big believer that linear TV is not dead. I think people at some point.
It'd be terrible if it was.
There's something about live TV and being able to witness it all together. That's why sport has such a huge, we're still connected with sport because we're all watching something all at once together in our homes, but we're all experiencing it together. When you lose linear TV, you lose a piece of that, because I can now go on to TVNZ Plus, Netflix, whatever other source that I have, and I can watch a series, and I can come into work the next day and go, oh, God, I'm up to season 3 of such and such. Oh, no, I'm only up to season 1. Oh, no, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Whereas TV, it's like it all comes out
Everyone's
at the same
gotta wait.
time. You've got to wait till
Everyone's gotta
7 o'clock at night or whatever it is. And that
That's so true.
collectiveness, that's the thing that, pulls us together in a world where we're all being pulled apart. Linear TV is going to be the saviour, she says, hopefully.
Well, I was just saying, we had chat with Jay and Dunk. We're talking about radio.
Yeah.
10 years ago, would have thought radio was going to be, what they do, the shows, that we've got morning shows and afternoon shows on radio. Would have thought they'd be gone. It'll be, would it be history by now? But it's still, it's still
the
delivering.
same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
It's
you're
the
sitting
same
in your
thing.
car, a whole bunch of people sitting in their
Which
car.
is awesome.
They're all listening to it at the same time. Everybody's laughing, crying, whatever emotions that you're feeling, but there's a collectiveness about that. There's a connection
and
about
it's still
it.
popular, and that's great, because it is such an awesome thing to still have in this wild, crazy, wacky, bloody universe.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's been such a cool chat.
Yay.
I'm inspired.
Are you?
Well, I think the stories. I can reflect and connect with it. In ways, because of parts of our lives were in sort of similar kind of spaces. I hope that at some stage, maybe not as soon as this comes out, but maybe in a year or so, maybe you play this to your hopefully 10, 11-year-olds by that stage, right?
And still won't care.
And they'll still go, nah, who's that old bloke? Who's that old bloke who's talking to you, Mum? We're not listening to that. We're not listening to that crap.
Oh, I know. They are
What are you
funny
talking
like
about?
that.
We don't even understand.
Do you know that I played for New Zealand? So this is what I do. I go, right, let's go down the park. Take the ball down. So we'll take the ball down. And I'll step them and I'll throw the ball past them. And they're like, Mama. And I'm like, mate, come on. You got to be better.
Keep up. Yeah.
That's how I give it to them.
Yeah.
As long as I can continue to keep doing that.
Some of the skills.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for them to go, how do you do that?
Yeah. No, still haven't asked.
No, it's still
no matter
not
how many
interested.
times you miss them and they can't keep up. Oh, that's so funny.
Wherever I can, I smash them.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that.
Yeah, there's a lesson. Right. You've juggled work, these early starts. You've been a mum. You've been a cop. Oh, my, we didn't even talk about that. But now it's really time to shift gears. Driving's one of those everyday things we don't often think twice about, but it's still one of the riskiest things most of us do on any given day. And that's where AutoSense comes in. They're all about helping people drive smarter and, more importantly, safer. So before we wrap up, I've got a few quick fire questions for you. It's all about habits, road safety, and life behind the wheel. Can you handle being in the driver's seat? How do you manage when you're exhausted but still have to drive? I mean, these mornings sometimes, you must really have to shake it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I always make sure before I leave the house that I'm, had my glass of water, I've got something in my stomach.
Yeah.
So that I'm alert when I leave the house.
Yeah.
I podcast a lot when I'm driving.
Yeah.
So that, I'm obviously focused on what I'm doing, but at least I'm not listening to whatever's going on in my head, and that I'm actually taking in what I'm listening to. Or sometimes it's just music. I just love to have a good sing.
Yeah.
In the car on the way to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good thing.
But I don't know. I just think that because it's that time of the morning, I'm always quite alert to what's happening around me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Have you, you've done plenty of trips to Pio Pio. Have there been ones where you've actually been fatigued? You've actually had to pull over and stop and go, hold on a second, this is not, because it's,
Shut my eyes,
Yep.
put the seat down, have a bit of a sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I reckon I learned that from my grandfather. When I was little, he used to drive me to Rotorua where my brothers were living and my auntie, so I used to go over there for holidays. And I remember him one day, I don't know how old I was, 11, 12, and he pulls over on the side of the road. We're about halfway home, and then puts his chair down.
He didn't tell you.
My grandfather didn't say anything. And and then he falls asleep. And I'm sitting there going, what the? No radio, no nothing. I just had to sit there
and
for
wait.
half an hour until he woke
Had
up.
his power nap.
Had his power nap, and then off he went. Didn't say a word. Put the seat back up, and then off he went.
How long did it take you to work out what was happening?
I will never forget that.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no, no way he did it.
You knew straight away, but there was no words. Yeah.
He was just tired. He left me there with one of those little bloody black and white black ball lollies. That was it. There was nothing else. Starving. It's like, you're fine. I'm just going to have a bit of a break here. Yeah. But no, I've done that on a couple of occasions where I know that actually I can't keep driving.
Yep.
And I've pulled over. 10 minutes sleep. And then whether that's also pulling in, grabbing a coffee, grabbing a water, whatever I have to do. Yeah. I won't push through it.
Yeah, good.
I think part of that being a cop as well is understand. I mean, I've had to pick.
Yeah.
I've been to accidents. Sure. So I've seen that, and I can remember those things. They're imprinted into my mind. Yeah. I don't forget those.
Fatigue is such a real hidden issue when it comes to crashes and incidents and stuff that's happening. And it's a much bigger problem.
And I understand it. I understand why.
Than what people realise it is, and the cause of incidents and crashes, which is one of the things working with AutoSense that I have managed to understand so much more about, even though you sort of knew, you just didn't realise the scale of it that's happening on a daily basis across the board, across the network, transport network, and on our roads is quite disturbing, actually. Yeah.
My husband and I, whenever we're driving, we're always, "You right?
Yeah.
You right? Do you want me to take over?" There's no egos. It's kind of like, no, I'm a bit tired.
Yeah.
Swap over. Because again, for me, it's my babies in the back of the car.
Absolutely.
It's the other people who are on the road. Actually, what's 10 minutes of pulling over or just stopping to grab a water?
It's not.
Or whatever you have to do. Or if that means you do have to take a half-hour nap, is what it is.
That's good. What's your biggest distraction behind the wheel? Kids in the back? Well, especially when you're driving a manual, it's not going to be your phone or anything. That's for sure.
In the manual, I don't find there's, apart from your son yelling at you to go somewhere or do something, that's probably about it in the manual.
You have a pretty good control though of all that stuff. I mean, we've talked about it, and I can tell that you're well versed in lots of things. So.
My sons, I'll always say to them, "Can't focus. I'm focusing on the road, son. Yep. I can't deal with what you just have to wait," and that's it. And then they know from that point on, yep, okay, I can't disturb Mama. They'll do it to their father while he's driving. Papa. I'm like, mate, Papa's got to have his eye on the road. He can't focus on what you want. Just have to wait or show me. But to be perfectly honest, when I'm in my manual car, it's my phone. My phone is my biggest distraction.
Automatic car?
Yeah.
Or manual car?
No, in the automatic.
Yeah.
It is my phone.
Yeah.
And I have moments where you're driving and then the podcast finishes and then you go,
"Oh, yeah.
Shit, I need to change that." So you're kind of like a bit like that.
Yeah.
So that would be, with it hands down, my biggest distraction when I'm in the automatic car.
Yes, and you're not alone there, that's for sure.
Yeah. I've had a couple of incidences lately which have really freaked me out. Like one was on the motorway heading south, and you see it again, people distracted. There's a pile-up of cars, everything's slowed down.
And people aren't stopping.
And then this car comes flying past and has to slam on the brakes, and lucky that there was, there's the concrete median barrier there, and lucky that there was just enough room for them to stop. And I look across at the car, and there's mum, dad, and the kids in the back. And you kind of go, seriously. But also, what I'm noticing more lately is vehicles, again, you can tell they're on their phones, going, off the road towards the median barrier, and then this real overcorrection of coming back. Same thing. On the inside lane, people drifting across.
Yeah.
And you go past and they're sitting there on a phone, doing a bit of this. And you go, again, because I'm super aware to all of that's going on, you kind of, as soon as you see somebody drifting, I'll always pull back because I'm like, I don't know if they'll see me in time. But it's happening, I feel like, because I'm on the motorway every day, it's happening more and more.
And more. Yeah. Yeah, we're not getting on top of that. We're not creating enough deterrent around it and awareness of it. So couldn't agree more with that one.
Yeah.
Becoming a parent probably really changed the way you think about safety. Yeah. And we've discussed, again, thinking about your kids driving, as well.
Yeah, that freaks me out.
Yeah.
Because I know what teenagers...
Because you were.
I was a teenager, and I've had my own incidences as a teenager where I felt like I was 10 foot tall and bulletproof and that everything would be okay. Everything was okay, thankfully for me. There's been many instances, and again, as a cop, seeing where young people, it hasn't been okay and they haven't made it, and the devastation for their families.
That reflection when you were arriving at a scene and you were seeing that reflection again on your own experiences, that must have...
I was 19 when I joined the police force. When I went to my first road crash death, I was 20. And this kid had done the same course that I had just come out of prior to being in the cops. And I go, 4 years earlier, that could have been me. That's never lost on you when I've had the incidents that I've had as a young person and the dumb decisions that I made at that time, whether it was getting into a car.
With someone else.
With someone else when you knew what was going on wasn't right, but you were just rolling with it and that, nothing's going to happen. And then you see the devastation of what actually happens.
And that person would have thought that, that they probably thought the same thing.
Totally.
It wasn't going to happen to me. Yeah.
And probably good kids.
Yeah.
Well,
most of the time, you can't blame it on, a certain attitude or whatever in most of these cases. It's not because that person was going out premeditated to do something bad either. Just going about business, okay, maybe not focused enough or whatever, making mistakes or bad decisions, but not because they were trying to either. And that's the thing. It's not every person that's being injured or killed on our roads, far from it, has gone out that day or that night, that morning, whatever, to do something bad, And
I think about my sons. Yeah, and them, and I think about a lot of things in the world that we're bringing them up in, but, getting behind the wheel. And, my sons are very different.
So what will you be trying to install into them when this journey begins?
I don't know. I'm always saying to them, don't be a dick. Just don't be a dick, mate. Be a good person.
I reckon that's a great bit of advice. Yeah.
Treat people kindly, but don't let people take the piss out of you either. And I don't know. I just think I'll be doing everything I possibly can when we get to that age where they can drive, to be able to give them the skills. But actually just the messaging all the time, just about, trying to make the right decisions, how you can protect yourself if your mates are saying to you, trying to get you into the car, some tools and strategies around how you can pull yourself away from that.
Yeah.
Whether it's you strong enough to be able to go, no, because we're talking about that stuff all the time with things that go on at their school, Yeah. You either front up to them and say, no, I'm not going to be part of that because I know it's not right. But if you don't feel like you've got the courage or the skills at this point in time to be able to do that, then maybe you just walk away. You don't have to say anything at that point, but maybe walk away, maybe go and speak to somebody else about it. Trying to do those things with them now so that they have the skills when they get to a situation like that to go to their mate, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Or maybe if they can't, go to get somebody else to actually come and intervene or help in the situation to stop what's happening.
Think of the big picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just trying to do stuff like that with my boys. I don't know. You're trying to just do the best that you can and prepare them for the decisions that they're going to have to make down the track.
Yeah.
Because you're not always going to be there.
Again, maybe try and play this podcast to them. Maybe this one can come when they're 15. Yeah,
yeah, maybe.
So play it several times. They'll forget in between.
Yeah.
So they go, hey, have a listen to this.
Yeah. They forget now.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Hey, Jenny-May, that has been awesome. Absolute bloody awesome.
Yeah, it's been, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. Loved the chat. Loved it. Absolutely fantastic. Some really great parallels, but also just your journey and putting it into the the way that you've gone and instigated it and put it together and now and the changes, turning 50, all that stuff is fantastic. Awesome.
There's so much more in your 50s, people.
Thanks heaps.
Pleasure.
Cheers. And of course, big thanks to our sponsor, AutoSense, helping drivers get home from work safer every day. That is the key. If you're in the transport or fleet world, check them out at autosense.co.nz. If you've enjoyed this little ride, then hit follow and share with a mate. Look forward to talking and seeing you next time.